Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror thriller film, Primal Rage, The Legend of Omah. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Ash is on a road trip across America, and she arrives at a prison. There she picks up her recently released boyfriend Max. At first, they have an awkward reunion, but Max breaks the silence by thanking her for picking him up. Then he takes out his belongings and tries to smoke. However, Ash wants him to stop his smoking habit since she doesn't want him to influence their kid. Then scenes of their family are shown from before Max was sentenced to prison. After that, the scene gets back to Ash and Max in the car, playing around with the radio. Suddenly, Ash stops by the side of the road, and then they try to start playing something smelly at the back of the car. Unfortunately, Max ruins it as he has weak hormones and finishes before it even starts. The following moment, Ash drives to a gas station to get fuel. When they arrive, Ash refills the car's tank while Max buys some goods at the convenience store. Max comes across a sheriff asking a clerk about a missing person. The clerk tells the sheriff that BigFoot got the missing person. The sheriff asks the clerk to call him if he ever sees the missing person, and he puts a poster among many other missing person posters before leaving. Then Max comes to check out the things he got. Suddenly, the clerk tells him of the rumor that BigFoot is lurking around the mountains and Max will be Bigfoot's next victim. Max thinks the clerk's insane, so he leaves. Outside, Ash is seen being cackled by a bunch of ruffians. Max arrives and tries to intimidate them, but fails. Ash sees this and tells him they should leave. While driving, Max hands her a beer, which starts an argument. It seems that Ash thinks he doesn't learn his lesson in prison and still acts immature, even if they are already starting a family. Suddenly, they run over a half-naked man on the road. They stop to see if the man is okay. When they look, he's heavily injured. They also notice that some of his injuries aren't from the car bumping into him. Ash decides to call emergency services to get help for the man. However, Max thinks it's a bad idea since he just got out of prison. Still, Ash continues her call since she thinks someone else did those brutal injuries to the man. Suddenly, Max notices someone in the forest, and he is revealed to be Omah, the Bigfoot's name for Native Americans. Omah starts throwing rocks at them, and the couple takes cover. However, Max gets hit and falls downhill. There, he falls into the river, and Ash chases after him. Ash reaches Max in the river only to see that he is unconscious. After going through the rapids, they float their way ashore. Ash sees that Max isn't waking up, so she performs CPR on him. Luckily, he wakes up, and they go to dry land to warm themselves up. There, they use Max's lighter to make a campfire. Meanwhile, Omah pushes Ash's car off a cliff and drives the injured man's body away. Meanwhile, the sheriff arrives at the station where he meets the wife of the recent missing person. The sheriff assures her to find her husband, and he heads inside the station to meet with his deputy. The deputy insists that the missing persons are related to Omah. However, the sheriff does not believe in folktales. The sheriff's operator interrupts their conversation and says that they received a distress call, the one from Ash. After that, the sheriff quickly heads out to the said location. As he arrives, he doesn't find anyone on the road, so he looks around and sees the couple's car down on the cliff. He calls for a tow truck to get the car to investigate the couple's disappearance. As the night falls, the couple sits by the campfire. Max assures Ash that she'll get back to their child as soon as they get back to the road. Meanwhile, the tow truck arrives and pulls the car off the cliff. The deputy searches the car and reports to the sheriff the details of the couple. The sheriff finds out that Max is recently released from prison. He asks his deputy to make a background check on the couple because he thinks that Max might have done a crime again. Suddenly, the sheriff notices something watching him from the forest. He tries to look for it, but gives up after finding nothing. The next day, Ash wakes up from a nightmare where she sees the injured man. As she wakes up, she realizes that her clothes are gone, so she calls Max and asks him where her clothes are. Max tells her that he didn't touch her clothes. Since they can only find her shoes, Max gives her his shirt so that they can begin their walk back to the car. Before they leave, Ash uses nature's bathroom. Meanwhile, it seems that Omah has tracked them down, and he seems to like Ash. As they hike upriver, they hear gunshots. Ash realizes that it's the group of ruffians from the gas station. Max suggests that they should ask them for help. Ash doesn't like this idea, but they have no other choice. Back at the station, the deputy is doing the background check on the couple. The sheriff learns about Max's imprisonment and finds out that Ash just recently picked him up. However, he doesn't see anything that connects to their recent disappearance. The deputy still insists that it's Omah, and he tells the sheriff to meet the Whispering Woman to get answers. The sheriff refuses since he's scared of her, and he does not believe Omah. Meanwhile, Max sees the ruffians and heads over to ask for help, while leaving Ash behind to avoid trouble. While Max talks to the ruffians, Ash gets stalked again by Omah. Omah comes close to her and cuts a strand of her hair. This freaks Ash out, so she runs to Max. The ruffians get aroused while seeing Ash, so their leader tells them to calm their hormones. The ruffians' leader explains to Max that they don't have phones or walkie-talkies that work. However, Max notices the leader's walkie-talkie, and the leader tells him it's broken. The leader tells the couple that they have a working radio in their truck. Then the ruffians' leader offers them to join their trip back to the truck, and the couple agrees. At the impound, the sheriff sees huge claw marks on the couple's car, so he starts wondering if it really is Omah's doing. Then the sheriff goes to the gas station and posts a new missing person poster for the couple. There, the clerk insists again that BigFoot got them. This makes the sheriff think that this is likely the case. Shortly after, he returns to the police station, where the deputy notices his dilemma. The deputy tells him to meet with their tribe's whispering woman through a ceremony later at night. The sheriff agrees and prepares for that night. Meanwhile, the couple and ruffians continue traveling back to the trucks. Just then, Ash thinks that they're going in the wrong direction of the road, but the ruffian leader insists that where they're going is where the trucks are. The couple gets suspicious, but continues hiking with them. After hiking for a while, Max gets irritated by the ruffian leader calling him an ex-convict. This almost causes a fight between Max and the minion ruffians, but luckily, the leader calms his minions down. Then Ash insists that they should just hand over the broken walkie-talkie of the leader, so they could fix it and make a call. The leader insists that they cannot do anything about it, but suddenly, a dumb ruffian, short-named Dumbo, reveals it is actually working. Dumbo realizes his mistake, so he takes a leak as an excuse, while his friend follows him. After that, the leader orders another wimp ruffian, short-named Wimp, to bring them back. Deep in the forest, Dumbo takes a leak while his friends wait for him. Suddenly, his friend gets shot in the neck with a long arrow. Dumbo looks for the archer, and he also gets impaled to a tree with an arrow. As he dies, he sees that the archer is Omah, and Omah crushes his eyeballs and skull. Meanwhile, Wimp follows Dumbo's trail, and he notices movements and growling from their direction. He runs away as fast as he can, but he trips and breaks his arms. Suddenly, Omah is seen nearby, and Wimp hides behind a tree. Shortly after, Omah sees Wimp and quickly decapitates him. At the main group's location, they hear the scream from the other ruffians, and one of the ruffians jokes that it's just those three guys having fun with each other. Suddenly, Ash snaps and demands answers on what's going on. The leader reveals that they're going to their illegal operations deep in the forest, and he threatens the couple to cooperate. Suddenly, one of the ruffians drops dead while the others are laughing. After realizing he really is dead, they look around for his killer, and one of the ruffians, short-named Runner, runs away. Then, Omah circles around them, and one of the ruffians freaks out and shoots wildly. The leader tries to calm him down, but fails. Max grabs this opportunity to tell Ash to run and hide, while the ruffians are distracted. Just then, the wild shooter ends up shooting one of his friends and Max. After that, he runs out of bullets, and Omah rushes to him to slit his throat. Meanwhile, Ash comes back to check on the injured Max. However, she's forced to run, as Omah chases after her. During their chase, she runs into Runner. Unfortunately, Omah catches Runner and forcefully opens his mouth wide. As Ash runs away, Omah leaves Runner and proceeds to chase Ash. During their chase, she gets caught by Omah's trap. Then, Omah brings her back to Max with the dead ruffians. After that, Omah kills Runner, who crawled back to the group. There, Omah sees Max and tortures him in front of Ash. Fortunately, Omah doesn't kill Max right away, which gives the ruffian leader enough time to shoot Omah. However, Omah only gets injured on one arm, so he captures the leader and Ash and brings them back to his lair. Meanwhile, the sheriff joins the tribe's ceremony so he can meet the Whispering Woman. The following night, the ceremony begins at a native's hut. The sheriff drinks an elixir and starts seeing visions of Omah killing the missing persons and the ruffians. He also sees the Whispering Woman in the vision saving Max from death. After seeing that Omah is the culprit, he goes out of the hut, and his vision gets blurry as he stares at the night sky. After that, he gets summoned by the Whispering Woman. Meanwhile, in Omah's lair, Ash is held captive alongside the ruffian leader and the other dead ruffians. Then, Omah shows his ape-like ugly face, which scares Ash and the ruffian leader out of their smelly shit. The following moment, Omah butchers the ruffian leader to eat him, and after that, Omah treats his wounds. Shortly after, Omah tries to harass Ash. The following day, Max wakes up in the Whispering Woman's house. There, he meets the sheriff, who explains Omah to him. The Omahs are believed to be the spirits of their native chief ancestors that guard the forest. He adds that the Whispering Woman watches over Omah and that the Omah who is causing trouble got corrupted by the evils of man. He tells Max that since Omah got jealous of Max being Ash's boyfriend, his pride ended up saving Max and gave the ruffian leader an opportunity to injure Omah. This gives them a chance to save Ash if they proceed to fight Omah. Without hesitation, Max decides to fight alongside the sheriff. They gather up the weapons of Omah to use against it. The sheriff warns Max not to bring guns, as gunpowder can be smelled by Omah. However, the sheriff brings a gun, and he covers it with a stinky gel to camouflage the smell, and they also use the stinky gel on themselves. Then, as they go to confront Omah, the Whispering Woman beats the drums. This alerts Omah, and he prepares himself for battle. Meanwhile, Ash gets a tooth that she sharpens and uses it to escape. Then she gets a gun from the dead ruffians to use against Omah. As the sheriff and Max get near to Omah's lair, they separate as the sheriff tells him to save his wife. Then the sheriff brings out his gun and alerts Omah of his presence since Omah still smelled the gunpowder. Shortly after, Omah ambushes the sheriff and they start fighting. The sheriff gets a shot on Omah, but unfortunately, he dies as Omah bites off his neck. Max and Ash hear this and go in that direction to confront Omah. Just then, they reunite while Ash uses all of her gun's ammo to injure Omah. She then runs away and Max follows her. Max realizes they can't outrun Omah, so he tells Ash to run for the road while he confronts Omah. Ash refuses, but Max promises her that he'll get her back to their child. Ash runs towards the road while Max lures Omah away from her. Then Max and Omah get into a fight where Omah obviously has the upper hand. Fortunately, at the last moment, Max makes a shiv out of his spear and stabs Omah repeatedly. After winning, he breathes a sigh of relief that this nightmare has ended and he daydreams of reuniting with Ash. However, it is revealed that there is more than one Omah that guards the forest and they kill Max. The film ends as Ash reaches the road and walks back into town, unaware that she will never see Max again. This is Daniel's CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.